In the heart of a bustling city, where the rhythm of life pulsates through crowded streets and towering buildings, there lived a man named Samuel. Unseen by many, yet integral to the city's fabric, Samuel was a taxi driver. His yellow cab, battered and worn, was not just a means of transport. It was a vessel carrying the stories of countless passengers. Chapter 1: The Cab's Symphony. Each day, Samuel embarked on a new journey, navigating through the symphony of honking horns, pedestrian chatter, and the hum of the city. His taxi, a witness to the highs and lows of life, carried the imprints of countless conversations and shared moments. Samuel wasn't just a driver, he was a listener, a confidant, and sometimes a silent companion to those navigating the twists and turns of their own lives. His taxi became a sanctuary for those seeking solace in the anonymity of the city's chaos. Chapter 2: The Lone Passenger. One rainy evening, a lone figure waved Samuel down. The raindrops danced on the hood of the taxi as the passenger, a woman with a weary gaze, entered the cab. Her name was Emily, and she carried the weight of the world on her shoulders. As the cab pulled away from the curb, the silence between them spoke volumes. Samuel sensed her need for companionship, for someone to share the burden of her troubles. He looked at her through the rearview mirror, offering a comforting smile that spoke of understanding. Chapter 3: Shared Stories. As the rain poured outside, Emily began to share her story. She spoke of lost dreams, shattered hopes, and the relentless storms that life had thrown her way. Samuel listened, his eyes reflecting empathy, as if absorbing the pain and sorrow she poured into the confined space of the taxi. In that shared journey through the city's wet streets, Samuel became more than a driver. He became a beacon of compassion. His words, few but carefully chosen, were a balm to Emily's wounded soul. The taxi, once just a vehicle, transformed into a refuge where burdens were shared and carried together. Chapter 4: A Lesson in Humanity. The days turned into nights, and Samuel continued to traverse the city, collecting stories like treasures. One evening, he picked up a man named Jacob, whose face bore the lines of wisdom and hardship. Jacob, a war veteran, carried the scars of battles both seen and unseen. In the confined space of the taxi, Jacob unfolded the pages of his life. He spoke of the horrors of war, the struggle with post-traumatic stress, and the difficulty of reintegrating into a society that had moved on. Samuel, though never a soldier, understood the weight of the emotional baggage Jacob carried. Their journey became a lesson in humanity. Samuel, with his quiet strength, and Jacob, with his resilience, found common ground in the shared spaces of the taxi. It became a sanctuary for healing, a place where the wounds of the past were acknowledged, if not fully understood. Chapter 5: A Beacon of Hope. Word of Samuel's compassionate nature spread through the city. Passengers sought out his taxi, not just for the destination, but for the journey itself. Samuel became a beacon of hope, a reminder that kindness could be found in unexpected places, even in the anonymity of a taxi ride. The stories continued to unfold within the yellow cab. A struggling artist found inspiration in Samuel's words. A young couple, on the verge of separation, discovered a renewed connection during their ride. The taxi, once a mere vehicle, became a conduit for the shared human experience. Chapter 6: The Invisible Hero. Yet, behind the wheel, Samuel remained a humble figure, content in his role as an invisible hero. He didn't seek recognition or praise. His reward was the subtle transformation he witnessed in the lives of those who shared his cab. One day, as Samuel drove through the city at dawn, he saw the sunrise casting a warm glow on the buildings. It was a metaphor for the countless journeys he had undertaken, each one bringing a glimmer of light into the darkness of someone's life. Chapter 7. The Farewell. As the years passed, the taxi's paint faded, and its engine grew tired. Samuel, too, felt the weight of time on his shoulders. The city, however, remembered the man who had driven through its veins, carrying not just passengers but the hopes and dreams of those who had shared his cab. On a quiet evening, Samuel decided to retire. His decision wasn't met with grand farewells or celebrations. Instead, it was a quiet departure, much like the countless drop-offs he had made over the years. The city, though unaware of his exit, felt the void left by the absence of his yellow cab. Chapter 8. The Legacy. In the years that followed, the stories of Samuel, the compassionate taxi driver, lived on. Passengers who had shared a ride with him recounted their experiences, and the tales of the man who had turned a simple taxi ride into a transformative journey became a legend. The city, ever changing, continued to thrive. New drivers took the wheel, and new stories unfolded within the confines of different cabs. Yet the legacy of Samuel lingered, a reminder that compassion, even in the smallest acts, could create ripples of change. Chapter 9. The Echo of Kindness. As the echo of Samuel's kindness reverberated through the city, a subtle shift occurred. Acts of compassion became more prevalent. People began to see the humanity in strangers, acknowledging that everyone carried a story, a burden, or a dream. The city, once a backdrop to countless struggles, became a canvas for shared moments of understanding. The legacy of Samuel, the compassionate taxi driver, was not just confined to the yellow cab, it had become a part of the city's collective memory. Chapter 10. The Unseen Thread. In the grand tapestry of life, Samuel's story was just one thread, a seemingly ordinary taxi driver whose compassion had woven a narrative of connection and shared humanity. His legacy lived on in the hearts of those he had touched, a reminder that in the chaos of life, the simplest acts of kindness could create a profound impact. And so the city continued to thrive, its streets filled with the ebb and flow of life. The taxis, with their drivers both seen and unseen, carried on the tradition of compassion, ensuring that the invisible threads of connection continued to weave through the fabric of the city's existence. Samuel, the compassionate taxi driver, may have retired, but his spirit lingered in every act of kindness, in every shared journey, and in the echo of empathy that resonated through the heart of the city.